stick just changed around here, buddy. You're looking at it.
And you guys are listening to the Outsiders podcast on a Chiefs bye-week Friday. No game this Sunday, which is probably good for our Kansas City Chiefs. I know it! We can't lose this week, no, I don't think.
I don't know. It's going to be scary out there this bye week. I think we're going to lose.
Well, it's very possible. We are underdogs to the bye week, so we'll see where it goes from there. But I'll tell you what, guys, welcome along. We got some great guests today lined up. We're going to do a little State of the Chiefs. During our bye week, we are 1-5, of course. Nick Lowery and Kevin Ross, two ex-Chiefs, two guys are on the Ring of Fame here in Kansas City, are going to be coming on to join us, talking about the state of the organization. And we're going to go around the NFL, talk about some teams that are actually playing well, unlike Kansas City. And we got Arthur Moats coming on from the Buffalo Bills, a team that's sitting tied for first in their division. So
yep, 3-3 all the way around the AFC East. So they're looking to take a hold of this thing and get a playoff berth.
Hey, maybe that's certainly not the case for our Kansas City Chiefs. Of course, Scott Pioli making the rounds this week. He did 6-10 and 8-10, and really, I don't think shed any new light or said anything groundbreaking. But I guess it was just good to see him finally show up and maybe take a little accountability for some of this horrible start. I mean, it's
well, he said he's made a lot of mistakes, maybe with the quarterback, his drafts, and just the personnel decisions he's made as far as the coaching staff. So
hey, well, that's a start.
Yes, that's good stuff to hear from Scott Pioli. He's made a ton of mistakes, and let's sign him to an extension and keep him around for more mistakes.
I sure hope so, because he's in the midst of maybe making another one, maybe not, because he was talking about trade Dwayne Bowe, because of course his contract is up. He's signed as a franchise tender right now, but Dwayne Bowe is going to be a free agent this offseason anyway. Do you agree with the fact, do we need to be trying to shop Bowe to the Miami Dolphins? Is that what we need to be doing right now, try to get something for him?
I definitely think so, only because I don't think he's going to come here no matter what kind of contract we offer him. He's sick of Matt Castle. He's sick of the losing. He's sick of the horrible coaches. He's sick of the management.
Hey, me too.
I mean,
trade me to Miami?
Yes, trade my fanship to Miami Dolphins.
Right now, the weather's nicer. They have a Super Bowl. I'll take it. But, yeah, we could be seeing the end of the D-Bo show here in Kansas City, and that's something that maybe it's a long time coming. Maybe it's just he needs to change the scenery, and the Chiefs need to be looking to move up. We need all the ammo we need in this next draft to try to move up and get that quarterback if that's what we want to do.
Yeah, I'd love to keep Dwayne Bowe. I mean, he's a great receiver, one of the best receivers we've had maybe ever, with Otis Taylor and Stephon Page. But if he wants to go and he does not want to be here anymore and will just refuse to sign a contract, then I guess just get what you can for him.
Well, guys, we need to get to our guests because we're just talking heads. Nick Lowery, Kevin Ross, these guys play for this organization. They are proud of being Kansas City Chiefs, and they're going to come in and joining us here. And I think starting with Nick, he's a guy. He's on the Ring of Fame. Both guys are actually, and this is just. They're both fed up. They're both not enjoying what they're seeing right now, so I think both guys are going to have an interesting perspective here. Okay, guys, we're continuing to talk about the Kansas City Chiefs this week and talking to some former players because we've got a real sense that there may be, some real disconnect here, and we're with Nick Lowery here, Chiefs Hall of Fame kicker. Nick, another day, another dollar, and another loss for these Kansas City Chiefs. What is going on? What do you see out there?
I'm not in Kansas City, so I just can look from afar here in Phoenix, but I think the main problem is a sense of team confidence has deteriorated. You would think that the team that had such promise before those really significant injuries last year that led to the difficult year they had last year, with those people back, another year of experience. Building the team ethic, things would be better this year. It looks to me like the offensive line has done a great job for the most part in the running game. I'm still not convinced they're doing a great job in terms of pass protection, but certainly not bad. And but the bottom line, you've seen this with Michael Vick lately, where Ron Jaworski's talked about Michael Vick taking an average of exactly half a second. The average pass in the NFL this year, he had a service that was analyzing all the different passes and timing them for the whole year. And the average pass get-off time in the entire NFL for every pass and every quarterback is 2.5 something seconds. And Michael Vick was taking about 3 point something, so about a half second longer. And you've seen that with the quarterbacks that get in trouble. that interior clock is an issue, and Matt Castle's had it, and Brady Quinn, I just don't think is the answer. I think he's a great guy. I think he's a good athlete, but the Chiefs don't have the one premier piece that Scott Pioli had in New England, which is, of course, a Hall of Fame quarterback. It's hard to have a Hall of Fame quarterback by definition, but certainly, short of a Hall of Fame quarterback, a confident leader in the quarterback, a guy that, if he's not in the top 5, at least is in the top 10. And I'm not sure that they really have a quarterback in the top 20. So that's the biggest problem, because along with that comes turnovers from staring down. We've seen this happen before, staring down receivers, and of course all the other things, being accurate, timing, and the routes have to be there too. It's not always the quarterback's fault. But that's been the biggest thing. I think the defense certainly has had a lot of issues as well. And so it's sort of snowballed. My perception is simply every great team has a sense of belief that they're going to get it done. Watch Monday night with the Hall of Fame quarterback, a team that was down 24-0, the Denver Broncos, didn't give up, didn't lose heart, just kept grinding, and then suddenly the other quarterback turned into the bonehead, just generating stupid play after stupid play, forcing the ball. I mean, literally 3 and outs would have been a whole lot better than forcing the ball in those situations. And yet, for some reason, the other quarterback started doing it, and suddenly, once you get 2 scores under your belt with Peyton Manning, watch out. And that last touchdown pass, actually the second to last, to his longtime receiver,
Brandon Stokely.
Stokely was, what an incredible catch, then getting the feet in. I mean, those magical things happen when you believe. When's the last time you've seen a lot of magical things happen for the Chiefs? Maybe 1 per game, but not 3 or 4 or 5. And that's belief, that's a quarterback, and that's then a general level of team confidence. And I'd add one last thing, which is, Marty Schottenheimer, when we started, we had great coaching. We had Tony Dungy, we had Bill Cowher, we had great coaches. And what did the great coaches do for us? They focused on teaching. They loved teaching, and they loved the details. And they created a culture where the players were intrinsically self-motivated and loved the learning and the studying. And I'm not sure. I'm not there to know. All I know is it seems as if, along with that notion of belief, is the manifestation of little mistakes under pressure situations, i.e. when the Chiefs get inside the 20, seems to have been the time when there have been a lot of little mistakes, and suddenly, you're on the 5-yard line, and then all of a sudden you're back on the 25-yard line, or you're out of field goal range. So those are, and by the way, the kicker's done pretty darn well, so he has not been part of the problem. I think he's an excellent kicker, and but unfortunately, I think overall, the team's making too many little mistakes, and when you have a lack of leadership at quarterback position, and good but not great talent at wide receiver, even if you have 180 yards rushing per game, you'd think that one thing I would have thought was a team that rushes for 180 yards a game, tops in the NFL, that they're going to win at least 50% of their games. But if you turn the ball over, you can even throw that one out the window.
Do you think there are any quarterbacks out there the Chiefs could trade for that could be their franchise guy, or are we going to have to draft a quarterback in the first round for the first time since 1983 and Todd Blackledge?
What's a really cool thing is that the NFL rookies have done really, really well, better than ever in history. In 1 year have done what has usually taken 2 to 4 years. So there's hope for that, but I would rather get somebody who's legitimate. I do not know who are the guys that would be available. It's great to come to Kansas City. It's a town that really wants to get behind its team, and it feels more like a team in a community in Kansas City than it does in New York and some of the big places. I think there is a reason to come to Kansas City, and there's a tradition here, but it's going going to be hard. I don't know who's going to be available and be a free agent next year, but that would be the kind of thing where you trade a couple of your marquee players and you suck it up, maybe probably at running back, to get that top 10 quarterback.
Nick, you mentioned our kicker, Ryan Suckoff, and of course, you being the most accurate kicker in NFL history, probably have been watching and do watch kickers probably as much as anybody. So Ryan Suckoff actually set the franchise record earlier in a win against New Orleans with 6 field goals. I mean, when you're in a zone like that, is it just kind of like almost in golf where you're just on and you feel like every kick you make's gonna go in?
Well, that's what you strive for, and it definitely helps. My best game ever was in that same stadium, the opening game of the 1985 season. And unfortunately, I never went back to New Orleans. I hit a 48-yarder at the top of the net, a 52-yarder, and a 36-yarder in the first 19 minutes of that game.
Wow.
And I didn't get back on the field for another field goal. But 4 days later, we're playing Thursday night and kicked 5 field goals against the Raiders and a 58-yarder from midfield, which Todd Christensen from the Raiders said was the farthest kick he ever saw. And, but that got me going. I made those 4 field goals in the first half, and there's no wind in the Superdome, so it helps. But still, you got to make them, and you got to make the clutch kicks. And what I like about Ryan is there really seems to be some real consistency and just the right kind of temperament. And I see him having a long career.
Do you think we're just a franchise quarterback away, or what changes do you think we need to make? Coaching, GM, players?
I talked to Bill Moss about this. It's a little bit like 1988. We had talent. We had Duron Cherry and Albert Lewis and Kevin Ross and Lloyd Burris, maybe the best secondary in football. There are a lot of individual talented players on the team. So, it's about developing that core belief, and then, of course, that level of toughness. I mean, just toughness. I mean, when I saw Dwayne Bowe, they were down 38-10, but that ball hit him right, on the sidelines, and he turned, and the ball hit him right in the chest. There's an inconsistency to Dwayne Bowe in his focus. He goes from all pro to just not being totally focused a little too quickly. And frankly, I'd say to Dwayne Bowe the same thing Marv Levy said to Bruce Smith. You have a chance to be a Hall of Famer, and you have a chance to help lead a team to a Super Bowl, or you can just be one of the crowd, and it's up to you. You've got to decide to make it important enough to be the leader, not only when it's easy, when your team's winning, but even when your team's having a bad game.
Well, it's going to be interesting going forward. I mean, and we've talked to a lot of players, and I'd like to get your take on this too, because there's been some rumblings from former players from your era specifically that talk about maybe that the organization doesn't welcome them back as much as they would maybe like, or there's maybe some disconnect there. I mean, do you feel that as well, or do you feel that you went to the Chiefs Hall of Fame a few years ago, I know that, but do you feel like there's some disconnect between the current management?
I think there's a universal issue in the NFL, whether it's with the Players Association or just the disconnect between current players and former players. I think the one thing that any NFL team would get back in spades is to identify the not 5, not 2, but 30 or 40 players that were professionals, that are good role models on and off the field, and saturate the current players with an appreciation of what the heck they have. That's the thing that's missing. In fact, according to most people there, and Todd Haley, I got to know him here. When I went there, I had a great meeting with Todd, but you cannot go anywhere in that building without somebody accompanying you, and it builds an atmosphere of distrust. And I don't think that's healthy. I mean, New England's crazy, but in Kansas City, I don't think you have to go to that extent. I think you got to protect the players, but then again, you're also protecting the players from maturing and becoming the intrinsically self-motivated guys that are going to be champions. And that helps when you surround them, you saturate them with guys that were very good players, if not great players, who had work ethic, people like Duron Cherry and Albert Lewis and Kevin Ross, Christian Okoye, Dino Hackett, guys that had great careers. There were so many more I could name that, share those things. Have them have lunch and dinner with those guys every week in the off season and during the season, so they appreciate what they have. They're being paid 10 times what the players in 1990 were making, and yet half of them don't seem to appreciate consistently. I'm not saying they don't work hard. I'm just saying there's a different level of commitment sacrifice that comes when you really understand how unique and beautiful this game is. And I think it only happens when you connect the so-called elders of the game, the ones that actually played and sacrificed their bodies, as we've come to know. It wasn't just their bodies, it was their heads as well, because the love of the game and their professionalism and their commitment to excellence.
We've talked to former players, and they say they feel like this team has no fire, no passion, and there's no leaders on the team. I mean, how can we change that? How do you get leaders in here?
I think leaders appear pretty quickly when you have one or two of the right people there. I mean, all you have to do is look what's happening in Denver. Guys that are making the plays that weren't making it before. They have some guys that aren't, besides Stokely, were not really well-known players. And yet they're starting to make some big-time plays. They're starting to expect that. So the right people can nurture, tremendous leadership. I don't think it takes more than two or three or four of the right guys, and that team will be, I think, in a different position.
Well, Nick, we really appreciate you being on today. We're about out of time, but I'll tell you what, I wish we could channel some of your positive and insightful, little quips here into the rest of the season, and hopefully we can get this thing turned around, man. Because you played here, this town deserves a winner, and we're trying to get there. So hopefully we're turning around in the second half, man. But I appreciate you joining us today. Great stuff as always, my man.
Thanks, man. My pleasure.
Yep. Thank you.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.
You too. Take care.
Okay, guys, we're continuing to go around the NFL this week, and we're going back to the Kansas City Chiefs with Kevin Ross. Kevin, you've been outspoken. You've been outspoken about your thoughts about the Kansas City Chiefs and the direction they've gone this year. Kind of give us a breakdown of what you think's going on and where this team is headed.
Wow. I think I don't think the focus is where it needs to be. I think the focus needs to be on the team, but we seem to be focusing on the management. Paoli and Coach Purell. When I saw them live in person, I didn't see any intensity in their play. I didn't see any intensity last week with Tampa Bay. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it's going to take to spark them, but they need some sparks some kind of way.
Your next defensive back, I mean, you saw in this Tampa Bay game that the corners seemed to be in position. You saw Stanford route one time against Mike Williams, get just jumped over. Mike Williams makes a play, goes for a touchdown. And even Brandon Flowers seemed to be getting kind of abused by by Vincent Jackson. I mean, as an ex-defensive back, what did you see out of the secondary in this last meltdown?
Play the ball. You got to play the ball. You got to go play the ball. Ball's in the air, yours. You got to go play the ball. That's all that was. I mean, that's just 1-2 now. And it's too much emphasis put on to me, today's players rely on scheme, and they don't rely on their fundamentals and their techniques. They look for your scheme to overcome whatever the offense is doing, and it's not always going to work like that. I mean, the other people get paid as well, and you got to go out there and fight. I think that's what the people want to see in Kansas City. They want a team that's going to fight.
How much is that on the coach? I mean, you played for Marty Schottenheimer, and he was a great motivational coach. How much does that go on the coach, and then how much is that on the players?
Well, Marty was a great motivator, but my motivation is this right here. You pay me millions of dollars to play. I don't need no coach to tell me when I need to go play hard and this, that, and the other. That's on the player. That's part of being a professional football player. You got to go out there and do what you do, regardless of what the fans are saying, regardless of what your record is, whatever it is. That has nothing to do with what you got to do as a corner, a tackle, a guard, or whatever. A wide receiver, it doesn't have anything to do with it. You line up and you play.
How big a part of this is the fact that this team does not appear to have any sort of vocal leader out there? I mean, you got guys that say they're going to lead by example and lead by their play, but I mean, there's no Ray Lewis, there's no one to stand up there and really get emotional. How big is that a factor?
Well, we don't have anybody to lead by play. There's nobody out there leading by play. Let's just cut that right now. You don't have anybody that's leading by play right now. I don't see one in particular individual that is playing with intensity. I know from coaching against the Chiefs the last year, I thought that Barry had some energy. I thought the linebackers had some energy. I thought that 91 had some energy. This year, for whatever reason, it does not seem to be there. And I don't know what the reason is.
think that has to do with the limited arm strength and accuracy of Matt Castle and Brady Quinn. But going back to just the lack of leadership, I mean, how do you go out and get a leader? How do you make someone a leader? I mean, how is it possible that we have 53 players on this team?
You make leaders. You don't make leaders. Either you have it in you or you don't. You don't make leaders. You saw a leader last night. 18 Broncos leader. You saw that last night. You don't make those kind of guys. Those guys, they're born with it. You can emphasize it. You can stress it. You can talk about do it by example and this, that, and the other. But there's some guys that can do it vocally, and then they can demand you as a player to step up and do what you have to do.
Well, we've seen Scott Pioli be drafting team captains a lot in the past years of drafts from their college teams, and it just hasn't transferred to the NFL. I mean, how is it possible we have 53 players on this team and not one vocal, outspoken leader?
You said the key word, college. College ain't pro. What you did in college doesn't mean anything up there. Nobody wants to hear about that college stuff. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you have to base a lot of things off of what you did in college, but once you get there in college, you forget about college. Now you're a professional. You have to learn how to be a professional. Some of those guys been on that team for a while now. They know what the league is about. They need to step up. We don't need to be worried about what they're going to do. Mr. Pioli or Coach Grinnell or whatever, that's out of their control. What's in their control, go out there and play hard. That's what the fans want to see. They want to see a competitive team. Now, you're not going to win every game, but you can compete in every game, and that's what's not happening.
Last year and years previous with Todd Haley, this team seemed to be have a lot of fight in them, and now it seems like they're reflecting the head coach with Todd Haley, and now with Romeo Crennel, it seems like they're kind of soft, and Rich Gannon alluded to that during the broadcast.
Well, I truly believe that NFL is about imposing your will on the team. That's one thing that Schottenheimer emphasizes a whole lot. When you're playing in the game, you have to impose your will on the person. You have to make them quit, not want no more. That is not. We're inviting people to play with to play against us, to do well, because we're not playing with any intensity or what have you. So I would agree with Rich on that point.
Well, as we go into the bye week here at 1-5, I mean, this thing is pretty much run off course as bad as it could be. I mean, in your opinion, is it time to blow this thing up and start from scratch with this organization?
What are you going to do? I mean, who are you going to bring in? You can't bring another coach in with another system.
I'm ready to bring you in. I can tell you that. I'm ready to bring you in, Kevin.
Well, you know what? I wouldn't mind coming in. I wouldn't mind coming in because the one thing I would demand is, you know what? Forget about the scheme. Forget about all that. Let's go out there and play the way we know how to play. Let's go out there and hit, tackle, run, catch, block. Let's do the fundamentals. And some things good that happen out of that. But right now, like I said, it's not happening. And that has nothing to do. To me, we put it on you put it on Coach Cornell and Mr. Pioli and all that kind of stuff right there. Now, I don't know what they're doing as men or executives, whatever. I don't care what they're doing. I do care how you play.
Yeah.
And we're not playing hard.
Yeah, players play the game, and I think everybody would agree with that, and we're going to see as we go forward here. And Kevin, I know your time is short today. We're going to go ahead and let you go. I mean, I can't thank you enough for coming on today, talking to us. Some intensity out of you, and I like to hear it because that means a lot. I think a lot of your ex-teammates probably feel the same way. Thanks so much for coming on today, Kevin. Have a great week, my man.
All right, take care.
You too.
And great stuff, as always, from our buddy Kevin Ross and from Nick Lowery before that. Really interesting perspectives. I mean, these are ex-players. I like what they're saying, and I like what Kevin Ross said about players needing to play. I think he's right about that.
Yeah, I mean, the players make millions of dollars. He put the onus on the players, not the coaches, not the GM. Talks about how the players need to be intrinsically motivated, making that millions of dollars. This is a game that they love, that they chose to go into as a profession, and they need to come out there, show the passion, show the fire, show the intensity, and get this thing done and execute.
I like that, and I think I'd get Kevin Ross in here right now to coach this secondary. I would love to see that. I'll tell you that. But we're going to go around the NFL a little bit too before we wrap things up, and we got Arthur Moats from the Buffalo Bills coming up. Looking forward to talk to him and let's start with the AFC East. This is a division where everybody's 3-3 as we come into this next week. I mean, New England, I think, is a bit disappointing at 3-3. They've lost 2 games by 1 point, but right now, who's the best team out there?
It's got to be the New England Patriots. I mean, you just expect them to get this thing figured out, get the ship righted, and win the division. You just expect them to win the division every single year that Bill Belichick and Tom Brady are in charge of things.
Well, let's go ahead and bring on Arthur Moats. He's going to be talking a little bit about his division and his team, so we're going to go ahead and bring Arthur on. And welcome back to the Outsiders Podcast. We are joined currently by Buffalo Bills linebacker Arthur Moats, coming off a big win yesterday against the Arizona Cardinals. Arthur, welcome to the show. Bet you guys are feeling pretty good today after that big win.
Oh, yeah, man, we definitely are, man. And I also want to say thank you for having me on. But, yeah, man, that was a must-win for us, and, I thought we went out there, executed, and got the job done.
Of course, Arizona had such a good start to the season. They come in to play you guys, and what do you think was able to work? I mean, your defense really played well and could pretty much shut them down.
Well, I feel like, Arizona definitely has a really good team out there, both on offense, defense, as well as special teams. But I felt that we just went out there and executed the way we know we can. And if we do that every week on defense and special teams and offense included, I feel like we're going to be a tough team to beat.
What were you doing when Jay Feely was about to kick that 32-yard field goal at the end of regulation to win the game, and then it doinks off the upright?
Oh, well, see, I was on that field goal block team, so I was just pushing as hard as I could on Marcel to get him to, try and get through him and Alex. And when I turned around and we just, saw the first, when it hit the upright and it hit the crossbar, I'm like holding my breath, and when it bounced out, we just went crazy on the field.
Well, here we are in, week 6, and your division, the AFC East, is looking very winnable all of a sudden. Everybody's 3-3. I mean, talk about this division, how you guys feel like you might be able to come out and win this thing.
Well, I feel that, we just have to continue to take it one game at a time and, control things we can control. As long as we keep winning games where we need to win, we'll be fine. But, I mean, it's definitely a good feeling to know that, hey, even though we slipped those first 2 times in the division, that, we're kind of have like a clean slate right now. So, we just got to just keep winning, though.
And I don't know, the season, of course, we cover the Chiefs here in Kansas City. The season for you guys seemed to turn around several weeks back when you guys beat the tar out of Kansas City down there in Buffalo. Do you feel like that was the turning point maybe for you guys who really got some confidence going?
Yeah, I definitely feel that because, especially how we got off to a slow start versus the Jets, it kind of, knocked us down a little bit. But by us, the bounce back that we did versus Kansas City and then coming out and having another strong performance versus Cleveland, it just kind of built our confidence and let us know that, hey, the things that the coaches are trying to get us to do, they do work. And as long as we go out and execute, we're going to be a tough team.
You've beat the tar out of Kansas City the past 2 seasons, actually. And what in those defensive meeting rooms, I mean, what do you guys focus on when you face the Kansas City Chiefs? Do you say, we got to stop the run, Matt Castle's horrible? What do you say as a defense?
Well, I mean, we all know that Matt Castle can make all the throws, but the biggest thing we have to do when you play the Chiefs is just stop the run, with Jamal Charles and everything, because he's a weapon. And then once you make the one-dimensional, you're able to, sit back and do a lot of things with your coverages and your pass rush, and that helps us out.
One thing I've noticed, specifically dating back to that Chiefs game and now going forward into yesterday, your guys' front 7 is really starting to come together, and of course including yourself as well. Just talk about that and how your teammates are really starting to come around.
Well, I feel like, we're all just starting to gel. We're all, spending more time together. And honestly, that week out in Arizona, just staying out there the whole week, practicing and preparing, it definitely helped us out. And, the closer a bond we get with each other, the more we push each other in practice, the better we're going to be in the games, and that's what you're seeing now.
Last season, you guys played Kansas City. Stevie Johnson takes out Eric Berry's knee, and Eric Berry's lost for the entire season last year. Where did you as a team stand on that? Where do you as a player stand on that?
As a team, like I said, it was a clean play. From a defensive standpoint, I don't really, personally like the fact that you're cutting on the second level, but like I said, it was nothing illegal about the play, and that's my teammates, so I'll stand by them on it.
Well, now you guys heading forward, I mean, 3-3. As you, I don't know if you saw New England the way they lost to Seattle. I mean, do you guys feel like with Chan Gailey that this is a team that is ready to turn around, ready to be above 500, and ready to take a playoff spot this year?
I definitely feel that, but I know it's going to come down to us just being more consistent and playing up to our full playing up to our full, potential every week and not just picking and choosing what we're going to do that. Because, in order to be a playoff team, in order to, be a Super Bowl team, you can't have ups and downs like that. You have to be consistent week in and week out, and that's what we have to continue to work on.
And, Ryan Fitzpatrick kind of struggled to start the season, but, how do you feel about your offense? Of course, hopefully getting Fred Jackson back and healthy, and Ryan Fitzpatrick looks like he's really starting to hit his stride.
Yeah, like I said, man, I just feel like, the guys are starting to gel all over the team, and, Fitzpatrick, he's our guy. He's he takes chances sometimes, but at the same time, he makes a lot of plays for us. And we definitely, having Fred back is always, a big boost for us as far as, having that 1-2 punch with him and CJ. So as long as everybody stays healthy and they keep getting better, we're going to be fine.
Your defense has given up the second most points in the NFL so far, but with new additions such as Mark Anderson, Mario Williams, and your rookie Stephon Gilmore, do you guys think it's taken a little time and you're just starting to gel with Mario Williams getting 2 sacks yesterday and you holding the Arizona Cardinals to 16 points?
I feel that, it goes back to being consistent. When we looked at those 2 games where we gave up a lot of those points and everything like that, well, the Jets game included, it wasn't nothing that they were doing that, was just schematically so much better than us. It was us having mental lapses, and in this league, if you have a mental lapse or a technique error, it can cost you a touchdown. And if one person does it, then another person does it, and then another person does it, well, those are points that are going on the board, and they're not going to be taken off. But I thought that yesterday we went out and made sure that we stayed focused the whole time, and that's just what we have to continue to do.
One thing that I always thought in the early 90s that worked well to the Buffalo Bills' advantage is having those home games in December that are freezing cold. You're from Virginia. Talk about, you've been with Buffalo a couple years now, but talk about how that weather turns in December and how you guys play through that.
Oh man, that weather gets really cold up here in December, and it took me a little while to get used to it, but ultimately I do feel that it is to our advantage, especially when teams come up here that are used to that type of cold weather. And with our fans being as crazy as they are, I feel that it makes it very tough to beat.
Well, I'll tell you what, Arthur, we're going to be watching the rest of the way. Really liking the Bills going forward. I actually, definitely hope you guys get a division title. It'd be nice to get the Patriots out of there in the AFC East. Arthur, best luck to you the rest of the season, and we look forward to talking to you. We'll catch up to you again, my man.
All right, thank you for having me on.
Thanks, Arthur. Have a good one.
All right, take care.
All right, you too. All right, now.
And a big thanks to Arthur for joining us there. Buffalo's a team I do like, but I think you're right. I think New England will get this thing figured out and go on. As you're talking about some of the other divisions in the AFC, I think in our division, the AFC West, really threw me for a loop because I thought San Diego might be the team ready to be poised to take that spot. But right now, after on the Monday night game, the Denver Broncos with Peyton Manning are the team to beat. It's official.
Yeah, I've said it all year long, and I'll keep saying it. They're the cream of the crop. They're gonna get the playoff spot out of this division. They're going to win it, and they're going to go on. I don't see them getting to a Super Bowl, but they're definitely going to take the division and maybe win one game.
Yeah, and of course, another team that's futile as the Chiefs right now is the Oakland Raiders. They're just a mess. I really don't like much of what I'm seeing out of them. Well, they did beat Pittsburgh, and they played the Falcons close, but I really don't think they're ready to even be a 5-6 win team right now, I don't think.
I can see them being a 5-6 win team. They've got a good quarterback. Their receivers stretch the field. Maybe Darren McFadden can get back on track. He started slow this season. And like you said, they played the Falcons close. They have the Chiefs 2 times this year, so there's 2 wins.
Unfortunately, we have them twice this year too, so I really hope we don't get any wins out of that. But
we won't.
Another division, I think, right now, as we keep talking about the AFC, the North. I think Baltimore is the class of this division. You might disagree with me.
Yep.
Baltimore has some injuries, I know, but this is the Baltimore Ravens. They are 5-1, and I think they're one of the top 3 teams in the NFL.
No!
Come on, the injuries aside, Ray Lewis is 38 years old. I think that's easily replaced.
Easily replaced? Ray Lewis? Are you kidding me?
38 years old. He's out there. He's still intimidating. He's still a force. But I think this.
He's the leader of that defense. He knows what's going on. He gets everybody lined up. Ray Lewis is the heart and soul of that football team.
They're talking about
without him, without Ladarius Webb, Jimmy Smith is not ready to be a starting quarterback in this league. They might win the division. It'll be close between them and Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh's not very good, my man. They're just not very good.
Yeah, the Ravens were the cream of the crop of the division until these injuries hit them. But it is over for the Baltimore Ravens as far as their Super Bowl hopes. They may sneak into the playoffs. It is over as far as the Super Bowl.
Suggs
over.
Suggs is coming back and to start practicing hopefully soon. I think
over.
Well, we'll see where that. I think Baltimore definitely wins the North, and unless the Cleveland Browns are going to come back and do it. What do you think about them?
Well, they'll beat the Kansas City Chiefs here in a few weeks, but other than that, that may be their last win in this season.
That's the end of that. Bengals and Steelers, I think, will be kind of playing each other back and forth for for second place, but we'll see where that goes. How about the South? Because, boy, looking at it, I like what I've seen from Andrew Luck and the Colts at times, but they've just looked dreadful at times as well. They beat Green Bay 2 weeks ago, but, boy, I don't think that they're ready to be any sort of contender.
They're not ready, not this season. It's the Texans, the only team coming out of that division. Chris Johnson can't gain a yard. Blaine Gabbert has shown that he's getting better, but only in a small increment.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So they're not ready, and it's just a mess.
So we agree Texans come out of the South?
Yeah, Texans, and that's the only one.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think there's going to be a wild card team out of that division at all. So, gosh, on the NFC side, as we look at the NFC East, because this is a division we love to talk about. We love to talk about the East because the media sure does. After week 1, I thought Dallas was the cream of this crop. It's been proven to be once again the New York Giants through 6 weeks anyway. Is there any way Dallas and Romo get back into this thing?
Nope, they're done.
How about the Eagles?
Eagles, they're done.
The Redskins with RG3?
Redskins will be the second best team in that division. I like them, but they're not ready to get into the playoffs, I don't think. Maybe next year the Giants will probably sneak in at 9-7 and win the Super Bowl.
I can't wait for that. They do it every year. I can't wait to see all the primetime games from the NFC East going forward. And
yes, lots more.
Gosh. I think Eli Manning in the passing game and, of course, the pass rush from the Giants defense is going to lead them to another division title, probably another Super Bowl. It's just what happens. They're the St. Louis Cardinals of the NFL.
Yes, they'll get hot at the right time. Yep,
that's what they do. So in the South, as we move on to the South, the division that I thought was going to be maybe the best in the NFL, it has not been the case. The Saints are a huge disappointment. The Panthers are not playing well with Cam Newton, but the Atlanta Falcons right now are the best team in the NFL at 5-0.
6-0, yep. 6-0 Falcons after they beat the Raiders. I mean, they are the cream of the crop of that division, cream of the crop of the NFC, cream of the crop of the NFL. They are going to come out of that division. They will be the number 1 seed in the NFC, and they may be challenging to go to a Super Bowl, but wait, they got to win one playoff game first. They haven't done that yet.
Especially at home, could be tough for them at 9-7. Giants team could go right in there and smash them up.
Yep.
In the divisional round, but. Well, what about the Saints are a huge disappointment. The Panthers are what they are with Cam Newton.
I think the Bucs are a year away.
Yeah, the Bucs are a year away. We just saw the Chiefs play the Bucs. We talked to T.J. Reeves last week about the Bucs. I think this is a team that's up and coming. Probably not for this year, but I like him maybe going forward.
I like him going forward. Unfortunately, Sean Payton comes back next year, so I see the Saints getting back on top.
Good point.
The Falcons are there, so they're still third best in the division.
Another division that's sort of jumbled right now is the NFC North. You've got the Vikings playing pretty good football, surprisingly. The Bears are the Bears, and the Packers are at 3-3. How is this possible? Of course, they should be 4-2 if not for the Seattle incident. But here we are. I mean, who's
Packers win the division. Bears number 2. Vikings will fall off because they're the Vikings. And Christian Ponder, I just don't believe in him, and they don't have many receiver or pass catching options other than Percy Harvin. Kyle Rudolph's coming on a little bit. As far as the Bears, I don't trust them. I don't trust Jay Cutler. He's going to throw interceptions because that's what he does.
Apparently you don't trust the defending wild card team from that division, the Detroit Lions. They are a mess.
Nope, I've got Matt Stafford on my fantasy team, and he's more like Matt Castle Stafford. He's played horrible. Calvin Johnson only has 1 touchdown catch this season by Sean Hill, not Matt Stafford, and they're just a mess. The running game is just nothing. Yeah,
back to earth for the Detroit Lions, unfortunately for them. But as we go out to the NFC West, we saw a very entertaining game last night, and I'll tell you what, this is a division I think is way better than anyone thought. We got the Rams sitting there at 3-3. Right now, I think San Francisco, after their win over the Seattle Seahawks, get back into that spot as the top team in the division. But boy, it's up for grabs.
Well, Kevin Cobb's injured, so that's going to hurt the Cardinals. I don't really believe in John Skelton. He hasn't impressed me at all. The running game has taken a big hit for the Cardinals with Beanie Wells and Ryan Williams getting injured this season. So now they're relying on William Powell. Exactly. I'm sure none of you know who William Powell is. And as far as the Seahawks go, Russell Wilson looks horrible, just awful.
Their defense is just absolutely stifling right now.
Their defense is great. The running game is great for the Seahawks, but Russell Wilson cannot complete a pass. That's a problem in the NFL today. And with the Rams, I don't see them being much this year until next year. Steven Jackson started to slow down. They've started to give more carries to a rookie, Darrell Richardson, so he's starting to steal carries from Steven Jackson.
Isaiah Pede's a guy I think that'll start emerging too in the next few years. They've got their quarterback in Sam Bradford, but they need some more weapons. Danny Amendola's out for the year. It's a defense that's still building, so I think we're a year away on the Rams, but they're still better than really what I thought they would be. So
Well, Jeff Fisher, they got our head coach. We hoped he'd come here to Kansas City, but yep.
They took his phone call, and now San Francisco, Jim Harbaugh sitting atop the NFC West. They will at
the end of the year.
Yeah. Guys, that has been our NFL wrap-up. We are so glad you could have joined us today. And make sure you guys are checking us out on all our social mediums and all of our websites. We've got so many. Make sure you hit us on Facebook, facebook.com/The Outsiders Podcast, Twitter @ChiefsOutsiders.
And our new website, not so new anymore. It's been up a few weeks, www.theoutsiderspodcast.weebly.com.
Make sure you hit that up, guys, because it has all of our archives for all of our interviews with all of our ex-Chiefs and all of our NFL players.
And the message board. We're still waiting for our first signee to sign up for that.
Come sign up, man. Talk some Chiefs. Talk some NFL. We want to talk it with you. So come to the page. Let us know what your thoughts are. As always, guys, have a good week. Enjoy some football this weekend. No Chiefs, so you'll probably have a great one.